Hey, what's up guys? My name is Andrew Rea. I host a show called Binging with Babish, and I'm here today to review the top food trends of the 2010s. First up, we have kale. If I had to guess when kale was at its peak popularity, I would place it at 2013. Am I correct?
Nearly perfect. It was the beginning of 2014.
So close. I didn't look up any of this before, I swear. I like it. Some people don't like kale. It's a little too spicy for them or something. I actually really do like kale chips. I like cutting them up, roasting them, a little bit of olive oil, maybe some garlic, maybe some red chili pepper, and it's actually a very pleasurable snack for my mouth. One of my favorite preparations for kale is to cut it into sort of bite-sized pieces. Get the leaves off the stems there. You could just go straight like this and make a salad out of this joint. I really love a kale Caesar. Next up we have the Acai Bowl, as I'm just learning is how it's pronounced, because I've been saying acai. I've never eaten acai, ever. I know that it is a berry. I know that they are very healthy. It's typically served with fruit. I would have guessed pre-2010s, but since this is the 2010s, I'm going to go as early as possible. I'm going to say 2010.
That's spot on.
I'm going to start with the acai. Now, I hate to say this, that tastes a lot like banana. So, who has an EpiPen? I'm kidding. I think I'm going to be okay.
No, what if you...
Oh, strawberry, perfectly safe. And here we have the yoga pants of fruit, avocado. One of the most popular ways to prepare avocado is with avocado toast. I can't juggle. A much lesser known way to consume and enjoy avocado is with something called guacamole. 2017 is when it was really popping off, the whole avocado toast fad, and it gets a lot of hate, almost like a pumpkin spice latte for being very basic. I love avocado toast. It's healthy to some extent if you use a nice whole grain bread. It's delicious. It's easy to make in the morning, as easy as making eggs. I like avocado toast. To tell if they're ripe, just give it a little poke and see if the flesh is yielding. This sounds weird. Use caution, because this is putting your hand in harm's way. Twist, and boom. Get the pit out, just sink your knife in there and twist, and voila. Sorry. The best way to get the flesh out of here is we're just gonna, you can use a butter knife or the handle of your spoon, and just scoop it right out. And boom, it's almost guacamole at this point. Just needs some salt and some garlic and some cumin. Next up we have oat milk, almond milk, alternate milks in general. Now these milks are very popular with folks that cannot handle dairy or don't want to drink dairy because they're vegan. And as you can see, they're not quite as visually appealing as your classic milk, but they certainly do the job. I personally love oat milk in coffee. I hadn't heard of oat milk until like last year. I'm gonna 2018.
Yeah, end of 2018, beginning of 2019.
2 for 4.
For almond milk, soy milk, oat milk, even cashew milk, pistachio milk have spiked.
Cashew milk is actually one of my favorites. If you make cashew cream at home, it's basically just soaking cashews for 24 hours and then blending them with water in the soaking liquid. You end up with this very, very creamy stuff that you can use as a mayo replacement, you can use as a heavy cream replacement, and you can water it down and make cashew milk. It's very healthy, and it's very easy to make, and it's very versatile. I like things like that. So hopefully I added to that conversation, even though that was this year, so probably not. Wish me luck. Ooh, yeah. The oat milk is like lightly sweet. I wonder if it's sweetened. Check. No, it's not sweetened. Now I'm going to try the almond milk. Stand by. That is very good. This one is sweetened, so it is very sweet, and it's quite good. It tastes a little bit like almonds, but this one really tastes like oats. And they're both pleasant in their own rights, and you can use them in different recipes, not totally interchangeably. Like you probably wouldn't want to make like a roux or anything and then add, almond milk to it. I don't think it would behave the same way. But in general, if you want to make something milkier or creamier, this is a perfectly viable option, especially if you're vegan or if you are lactose intolerant. I like a lot of trends. They're pretty good, except for the rainbow bagel. Next up, we have matcha. And as I understand, matcha is just very, very finely ground green tea leaves, as you can see here. It's this super fine powder that the tea has been ground so fine that it just dissolves into the water and becomes matcha. If I remember correctly, there's a bit of ceremony in its preparation where you add the matcha powder to the water, hot or cold, and dissolve it using this very, very thin, very fine, wooden-looking kind of whisk that emulsifies the matcha into the water and creates a lovely, smooth beverage that's very, very good for you. Anything that tastes like grass clippings is very good for you. One of the great sweet things that you can do with matcha is matcha cheesecake and matcha creme brulee. I'm a big fan of. It plays real nice in those flavor elements, and I don't know if it's as good for you in that case. It might just be for flavor and for color, but I'm gonna pretend that it's just as good for me as drinking this entire glass and eating all this powder at once. Next up we have the pumpkin spice latte, the immortal pumpkin spice latte that has been in the cultural lexicon as the very definition of basicness is the pumpkin spice latte. And I am personally not a fan of it, but when it comes to all these food trends and stuff, I always say, live your life, dude. If you like these, drink them. I don't care. It's gotta be October. What? You just said it won't be hard. Pumpkins, October. It's pumpkin spice lattes are like Santa Claus. It just keeps getting pushed earlier and earlier. Next thing you know, you're gonna be drinking these things in July. So you got nutmeg, you got cinnamon, allspice, clove, presumably ginger, maybe. It's a nice set of spices that plays well with a wide number of ingredients. So it makes sense that it would enter into the world of food service like it has. It doesn't seem to me like a trend it's endured for the past 10 years like crazy. I don't see it lasting forever. I am a huge fan of Pokeballs. I love sushi, and this is just another way to get some raw fish in me. I personally like it with a kind of like a sesame, maybe spicy kind of mayo vibe going on there. This has been a huge trend recently. I'm gonna guess that the year that this peaked, if it wasn't this year, it's gonna be last year, so 2018, if I had to guess.
So 2017, 2018, Pokeballs were huge. It started in California and it moved its way over to the East Coast.
Yeah, so maybe I'm just coming from an East Coast mindset, and it probably peaked in California in 2018, or 2017, came over here in 2018. Either way, I'm right. So we generally got a base of rice, or cauliflower rice is a popular one nowadays. Some raw fish, salmon or ahi tuna, some nice sliced ginger, some avocados, some seaweed salad, some cabbage, some scallions, and then usually a dressing on top, some kind of like scallion tofu dressing or a spicy mayo or something like that. Sesame oil. It's just a lovely melange of flavors and textures, and relatively healthy for you if you don't eat too much of the rice. As far as this being a lasting trend, at least here in America, I would say that it's probably not going to last as long. I know 2 Poké spots that have closed like on my block in the past year, so just from that alone, in my mind, it's like, okay, it's maybe had its moment. Next up, we have Meatless Meat. I guess it would have trended this year because of Burger King and KFC and all that doing all their meatless meat stuff. So that's really going to be what injects it into the mainstream mindset. Delicious. I'm purely impressed by it. I've had the Impossible Burger before. I think it's the best one out there. I think most people would agree with me. It tastes, looks, smells, feels like meat. It can be cooked to medium rare, effectively. It can bleed. I think it's the coolest thing in the world. It's not perfect yet. It's so close, but I look forward to the day that I'm going to be able to have a burger or steak even and be like, that was a really good steak. And then somebody says, that was 3D printed. Next up we have chia seeds, which I'm guessing peaked also in the 70s because of chia pets. So these are a popular smoothie additive or beverage additive because they have a thickening quality to them. Well, let's see what happens. When chia seeds are added to any liquid, they will absorb the liquid and expand and turn into something that can either, sort of add texture to your drink, or if you blend it, can thicken it hilariously. Ooh, yeah, they become slimy. Each one is encased in its own embryo, like an alien. And, oh, no. Hang on, let me get it. There we go, here we go. Good. Oh, well, all right. Well, as you can see, it gets, here, let's get real here. Let's do this for real. Yeah, it gets slimy. Each one is sort of enveloped in its own little gooey cocoon. And that's the superfood part of it. That's what you want. You want the cocoon. See, I'm actually going to add 10 years to my life. But next and last, we got rainbow bagels, which I personally hate. These are inherently going to be bad bagels because with a really good bagel, you want like a deep brown, crunchy crust, and that would just negate the whole point of a rainbow bagel. This is only to look pretty. It's not to be a good bagel. So right off the bat, these can go for themselves. I do think that there are plenty of places that rainbows belong, in cakes, over pots of gold, in Lucky Charms. I don't think that they belong in bagels. I think this is silly and a dumb thing. Let's put that in there, and then I assume you just kind of, whop. Ooh, that was satisfying. All right. Oh, that's dumb, stupid, hate it, dumb. So, my show is called Binging with Babish, and I recently released the Binging with Babish companion cookbook, and this is the first 100 recipes from the show. I just happened to open to a picture of me. That's fun. I could kind of do the same. No. So it also has some of my tattoos. People wanted to know what my tattoos meant, so I put them in there. And this is the companion cookbook to my show, where I recreate foods from movies and television. This, for instance, is the Michael Scott pretzel, which is a soft, sweet and savory pretzel with 18 different toppings, because Michael's crazy like that.
Is there any way that you could do all of them?
This is the triple-decker Eggo extravaganza from Stranger Things, or at least my version of it. On the show, I try to recreate accurately the foods from your favorite fiction, and then I try to make, if it's not very good, which it often isn't, try to make a good or palatable version that you can enjoy for yourself. This is a great example of one that was good all on its own. It's the treacle tart from Harry Potter. Treacle is kind of like a British corn syrup. It's a golden syrup, Lyle's golden syrup, and it's baked into this thin, sweet little tart and served with some soft whipped cream. It's absolutely astounding. It's wonderful. The best part about making my show is getting people to cook and meeting people who have told me that they've tried cooking for the first time, or they cooked something for their spouse, or they shared a food experience with somebody that they love. That's what gets me out of bed in the morning. It's my favorite part of my job. Next and last, we have rainbow bagels. Next and last, we have one rainbow bagel. Next and last,